Welcome to Real Chat,
the podcast where we, Annie and Chad, discuss real shit
loosely related to the real estate industry.
Hello, Annie.
Hi, Chad.
Welcome to episode 7 of Real Chat. How are you?
Good. You have to remember that forever, what episode we're on. You have to actually say it.
It's just counting. I guess I don't have to. I'm pretty sure we're...
So when we're on episode 744, you're still going to remember.
I am.
Okay.
I might have to start a list, but I'm going
You
to
don't
say
do a
it
list,
every
remember?
time. It's true. Maybe at that point I'll be doing lists.
Okay.
Or using them. But yeah.
What's
episode
up?
7. Not much. How are you?
Good.
My Dr. Pepper.
A little plug there.
I'm ready. I'm ready now. So what's going on with you this week?
Busy week.
Yeah? What's been so busy?
Showing a lot of houses.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of houses sitting on the market. That's very interesting. Showing a lot of good houses that are been sitting for a while.
I'm just excited you're showing houses again.
It's true.
There was a hot
Some
minute
buyers
there
are jumping back in. Told you.
Going
You heard
into
it
the
here.
election.
Once the election is over, it has not rebounded as fast as I would like, though.
True. That's very true.
Which is a little alarming. I just really thought it was going to be a switch
Yeah.
that would flip.
Are you still wearing flip-flops?
No, October 31st.
Oh, okay.
Get with the program.
It just got really cold today.
You
and
could have
so
worn
it
them
made
yesterday, though.
Yeah,
No.
I was like...
Halloween is my line.
Winter's here.
Halloween.
Winter is coming. That's a show from HBO. Winter is
Do
coming.
you hear ambulance noises in your headphones?
No.
I do.
Do you?
Anyway.
What else going on? What else did you do this week since last I saw you? I really didn't do a whole lot besides keep moving into my house. Do you know how hard it is to
Do you know
move
how
into a
long
house?
this is taking you? I thought you would be like, because you're like a Tasmanian devil. Like I thought you'd be in like a week.
Well, I mean, everything's in, but
No.
it's just that whole, didn't you, when you moved in, you shuffle. It feels like I'm constantly moving stuff from one room to another. And I'm like, okay, tonight I'm going to do the garage. So I go out in the garage and I start unpacking the garage and organizing and hanging my shelves and whatever. And then when I'm done, all of a sudden there's a pile in the kitchen. Of stuff that was in the garage that goes in the kitchen, and then you got to go to the kitchen. Now, like, okay, now I got to redo the kitchen. It's like the 4th time I've done the kitchen.
Yeah, that's true. And
Exhausting.
your kitchen is smaller here. Your last kitchen was massive.
I actually think I have more cabinets in my new kitchen.
What?
Yeah, because we have. So if you remember, in my old kitchen, we had the U base cabinets with the sink, but we also had the cooktop on it.
Oh yeah.
And then, but we only had 2 walls of uppers. And this kitchen, I have 3.5 walls of uppers and lowers. So
3.5.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a whole U of a kitchen.
And
then there's not U, like the letter U. And then there's like the little section past the doorway.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a little coffee bar type of.
So you have a lot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Actually, I have empty cabinets.
Can't wait to see it.
Which, if you remember when you helped me move into my last house, was not the case.
Right. You've probably purged. I've never seen anyone have so many dishes.
Yeah, a little bit.
No?
Not really.
Wow.
We got rid of our everyday dishes that we used every day, but then we ordered more because Mikey just didn't like them. So we got new ones. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Nope, still got 3 full sets of dishes.
I'm entertaining. I'm a paper plate kind of gal.
Yeah, and we don't even entertain.
Yeah. When I have company over, it's paper plates.
They're sentimental. That's the issue. The one set is his grandma's. The other set is my grandma's. You know, back in the day, they did dishes. It's what they did.
I know.
So, anyways,
Anywho.
yeah, that's pretty much what I've done this week, aside from the usual running the brokerage with compliance. And one of our new agents, has their first closing this week. That's always fun and exciting.
That's so fun.
He's so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for him.
We have one new agent with their first closing, one new agent with their first listing appointment. So it's kind of like when you've got one off at school and
Yeah.
reach a big milestone.
No, and
It's like being a mom.
the one that has the closing is closing up for sale by owner, which is not an easy avenue to find business. And
Found a for sale by owner, called a for sale by owner, got the listing. Yeah.
and sold it.
First deal ever as a realtor.
Right.
Ask me how many of those I've done.
How many of those have you done?
Play that cricket noise you got. It's not my jam.
It's not my jam either.
But
I wouldn't even call them.
But I'm very impressed, and what a way to build a business because they're out there.
Oh no, 100%. I mean, I see it all the time, and I know it's a viable business option if you can get past. And I think that that's what he does. He can get past the rejection. I know he called a lot.
That's right. You've got to be able to say that. Yeah, you're going to get 50 no's till you come to the one yes.
Right. Yeah, and that is hard. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
And he's done amazing. These clients adore him. They have other properties. And they were for sale by a realtor before, so it wasn't. This one wasn't expired, right?
They had bad.
And then they tried by owner.
And then they tried by owner.
Yeah.
Maybe it was expired.
Yeah.
And then they tried by owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he has two. He got two. A brand new realtor. He got two. He has another listing. So
I know. And he's only has license for like 5 months.
Go Joe. Can I say his name?
Yeah, Joe Reese. That's his name. We've known him forever. He's he's one of those kind of why we do what we do stories.
Yeah.
I think a little bit.
He's a great guy.
He's so nice. And he keeps telling us that the only reason he's doing it is because we believe in him. And
Did you?
it makes me cry a little bit, but it's very sweet. And I hope he's not watching this because he'll be all mad at me for talking about him mushy, but I don't care.
Mushy, yeah. It made me think of the reel we're going to film today.
Yeah.
Guess that, about being nice.
I honestly haven't watched it yet, so.
You know how you're doing the jerk part. I mean, like, that's like typecasting, I know, but everybody says it costs nothing to be nice.
How much it costs to be an asshole.
Yeah, it costs nothing to be an asshole either.
That's my favorite response when people say that.
I never heard it.
Seriously?
No.
That's
anyway, now
funny.
I gave away the reel.
That's all right. Different audience, maybe. It's true. I think every time somebody says that to me, well, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. Well, it doesn't fucking cost anything to be an asshole either.
I think you should bleep out the F word.
Okay. Will do.
You're lying. Anyway, maybe we should talk about something. I guess that was related to real estate.
It's very related to real estate.
Not the asshole part.
No, that was just a rabbit hole. But anyways, yeah. So that, and then busy week this week. I have, I guess that's probably why I don't have much going on. My whole busyness is in the next 2 or 3 days. So that's tonight we have a holiday party for RPEC major investors, and then tomorrow we have a whole work day, and then I'm teaching ethics at the Board of Realtors tomorrow night, and then Friday night we have our installation for the board also.
At Ameristar.
At Ameristar. Yeah. We have a lot at the installation this year. So, I was saying that on Waking Up to Win the other day, and I was kind of like, I'm kind of proud of that. Like, we're very involved in the industry as an office. But I'm being installed on the board of directors. Jesse is being installed as the Women's Council president. You're being installed on Women's Council governing board. Catherine and oh my gosh, I'm having a blank. There's one more person is graduating from Leadership Academy. Just Catherine's graduating from Leadership Academy.
Jamila.
And Jamila. I see it. I was drawing a blank. I don't know why.
And
Jamila is.
We have one being.
I know. Yeah. Jamila and Catherine are graduating from. I know, you're just throwing me off. Graduating from Leadership Academy, and then Dawn is being inducted into Leadership Academy.
And sorry, I'll just keep it quiet over here.
I mean, if you want to just say it, say it. What am I missing?
No, and I have the honor of installing.
Oh yeah,
the Women's Council and Jesse, and I get
Jesse
to do that.
So that's exciting to me.
And it's at the casino. So then after that's over, we're already there.
Yeah, I'm staying the night.
Are you?
Yeah.
I haven't decided.
She's going to have FOMO. She'll be at Ameristar all night Friday night. Promise.
It's probably true. But right now, I'm thinking the responsible thing would be to go home because we're having Thanksgiving on Saturday.
Not until Saturday night.
2:00.
That's Saturday night.
We'll see. We'll see if Lady Luck has something in the cards for me.
I don't know. But
What happened to your hand?
I got in a fight with my moving boxes.
Oh.
And then I was at lunch today with somebody, and it's like, I really don't even need this Band-Aid.
It's the weirdest position of a Band-Aid I've ever
I put it on at
seen.
lunch, so
Right. Oh, that's kind of gross.
I was like picking this up, and then it scraped, so it looks way worse than it is. But then every time I make a fist, it stretches and then pops sometimes open. And so I was at lunch today, and it popped open, and the person I was with didn't really care for
Blood
trickling down my finger. So she gave me a Band-Aid
Got
out
it.
of her purse, like she was Mary Poppins. She's Mary Poppins.
Or
she
a
had
mom.
everything in that
Most
purse.
moms have a Band-Aid
She
in
is
their
a mom.
purse.
That's exactly what
Not
she
even
was.
that big of a stretch.
I couldn't find a Band-Aid. I'd have to go to the store.
No, but I will say yesterday I have boxes. The church is doing a food drive, and I had my boxes, and I wanted to give them to Tammy to take. And so I was like, I came in to see if Joe had any packing tape, and then I told Joe, I go, I'm going to find packing tape in Chad's drawer. And he goes, no way, he's not going to have packing tape. I go, he is. And I opened up the drawer, and there it was. I don't even know what you would pack. You literally have two tiny little drawers. So I go, it's like Mary Poppins' bag.
I have
Whatever
everything in my desk drawers.
I needed a staple remover. Not that I get in the drawers, but you had
Yet
scissors.
she's going to list everything that's in my drawer. But she's never been in
But
it.
when you had that was hilarious. And Joe was,
You have to package up things and return them or whatever. You need packing tape. Like, who doesn't have packing tape in their desk? Is that not normal?
it is not normal.
Really?
I do not have, clearly I have none. I have snacks.
Yeah, but you have me.
It's true. I have pens and paper.
I'm
and
not even
clips.
sure I have pens and I have
I
pens.
have like office supplies. No, you do, and you have the little clippies because I borrow those quite a bit as well.
I know, because there's never any in there when
And
I
you
go
don't
to
use
get
them.
one.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I feel like packing tape is an office supply. I'm just
I don't
saying.
pack. What would I pack?
I have no idea.
That's why I don't
Popeyes,
have any.
returns.
No, I don't return things.
You're a mess.
Anywho,
So today we wanted to talk about, besides our antics here, what did we want to talk about? I forget.
we were going to talk about what it means to a buyer and or a seller when they're under contract.
What do you mean? What does it mean? Like you're talking about like it means what?
So
I've got a blue elephant.
what? What?
What are you talking about?
What's a blue
Elaborate. It was
elephant?
just something that came into my head because I don't like. What does it mean? What do you mean? What does it mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you
I say that to you all the time. What do you mean? What do I mean?
I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
So when a buyer signs a contract, they're not telling the seller, I'm buying your house. They're telling the seller, I now have the right to buy your house, but I have all of these things that I get to make sure that I want to buy your house. We call them contingencies. And at any time, as long as they follow that contract, they can decide not to buy the house.
Right.
But the seller, on the other hand, when they enter into that agreement, they're selling their house unless the buyer would violate something or there was something that they couldn't get past in the negotiation. But again, it would be the buyer who has the walkaway rights.
Yeah. So essentially what you're saying is like that the buyers are in control. The sellers, once you sign on the dotted line as a seller, if that buyer decides they're closing, you're closing.
Yeah,
Like
so
you don't have an
right.
option of that to walk away.
So so there was a situation, not ours, where the seller had their house under contract. They'd sold their house and they were buying another house. So we call that like a domino deal. But the person who was the the house that they were buying, there became an issue and they weren't going to be able to buy that house. So they turned around and said, well, then we're not selling ours. And I'm like, oh, you are. And that was, that was the issue that came up.
They were buying a house contingent on selling their house, and they had their house under contract to purchase. And their house...
Maybe you should draw that.
I know. And their house was still fine. The buyer for their house was coming through. They had gone to closing already. They had signed everything. And then
They weren't quite that far, but yes.
Buyer, something happened at their final walkthrough, right? And they no longer wanted to purchase the new house that they were purchasing.
Right.
And you said
which they have that right.
Yeah, they don't have to purchase the one that they did, right?
Right.
It was a deal breaker. We don't have to close.
So you do have that ability
They could invoke that contingency as a buyer on their own house, but then when they said they were going to do that, of course, your natural response was...
Where are you going to live?
And they didn't get that they can't just not sell their house.
Yeah, it was not our deal, but yes, right. But that was the question back to the seller, and the seller said, I'm not selling it. And it's like, that's where they don't understand, that they don't always understand that.
I mean, they don't have to. I mean, you can't force anybody to do anything, but yeah.
Well, there's courts.
Right.
I mean, there's consequences. You can't just change your mind. But that's not something that everybody understands.
Yeah. So when a buyer goes under contract, that's the importance of contingencies too. And knowing your contingencies like that was, I think, one of the situations that came up in the office the other day was, you had the buyer did their inspections.
This is big.
Submitted inspection notice. And the agent went through everything on the inspection report line by line, as we always do. And she picked a list, which I might add was quite extensive, of things to ask the seller to fix. And they submitted that. And then the seller came back and said, no, we're only going to fix these things. And so then she wanted to go back at the seller and add more things to the original list.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't do it. I mean, can you do that? Yes. But it doesn't make any sense from a negotiation standpoint. Like they already said they're not going to do the first list you added. Now you want to add more to it? Like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And so then, she was like, well, I just want to walk away. And I'm like, well, that was only an option up front. So it is knowing your options, and you can't always just walk away, like at any point. That's the whole reason we have a contract.
But even in that situation, that is the same. The buyer could walk away for any reason at inspections if we can't come to an agreement. The seller can't say in the middle of a negotiating an inspection, I'm not selling you my house.
No.
They could say, I'm not fixing anything, but then again, the ball's always in the buyer's court for that to go, okay, then we're done. We're going to mutual release. The seller just doesn't get to invoke that, I guess, is where a lot of people are confused.
The buyer only gets one chance to invoke that, too, on initial ask. Once you've opened a negotiation, you're negotiating. So those negotiations can fail and come to a stalemate.
I was going to say it could still come to that at the end.
But either the seller or buyer could force those negotiations to come to a stalemate.
Possibly. We've actually had that before where, and I don't remember the deal, but we were on day 10. You get 10 days to do your inspection, or
that's the
10
default.
days. And then it was like, okay, here's what's going to happen. If they send nothing back and they just let that, come and go, then we're done. Or you can go back and you can accept it as it is and not ask for those repairs.
Right. Yeah.
But still in the buyer's, the seller is obviously has some, what's the word I'm looking for here? Some push, some pull, but ultimately it's going to be the buyer who says
leverage.
Leverage is the word, leverage. Right? But the buyer has the final.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to come to an agreement.
Right.
So they both have leverage in that particular negotiation. You're under contract, and once you start negotiating, you negotiate. But either of them can let it fail.
Right.
And then once it fails, that's one thing that that I always I don't think people really grab onto either, is when a contract is terminated, really doesn't have anything to do with the mutual release, right? A mutual release literally just releases the earnest money from the contract.
Yeah.
So it's a written agreement about the earnest money. The contract's dead. The contract's dead.
Right.
So like
Right.
once you know, to your point, because we had that one time too, where you had had a frog in my throat. We had that one time too, where the negotiations failed and we went past day
Right.
10, but they wouldn't sign the earnest money, or they
Contract's
wouldn't sign
dead.
the release.
Yes.
And so then that particular agent calls me and she goes, "Well, your buyer," or we were the seller, and so we went
were the
back
seller.
on the market after day 10 because you're
Right.
no longer under contract.
Contract's dead.
The contract is no longer
Right.
what we would call enforceable.
Right.
And so we went back on the market on the MLS and put it in the mutual release. Hadn't been signed
Earnest
yet.
money at this point is still
Earnest money's at the title company. Buyer's getting the earnest money back, like we were okay with that. And then the agent came back afterwards and was like, "Well, my buyer changed mind. They wanted to reopen the negotiation period, extend the negotiation period because the buyer had changed their mind about what they
Right.
were and weren't allowed to do." And the seller was like, "Well, we're already back on the market and have 3 showings now." And then the agent calls me and she goes, "Well, you can't sell that house to somebody else. We haven't signed the release yet." And I'm like, "Okay."
not how that works.
Not how it works.
Right.
Yeah. The release has nothing to do with whether we're allowed to sell
Right.
the house again or not. It has to do with where the earnest money is. So, which that's a big deal too, that I don't think gets talked about a lot of times is earnest money. When a buyer pays earnest money, that's serious, right? Like it's not like you're writing a check that they're going to hold
Right.
and never cash.
It's not monopoly money.
No, it's real money. So and it makes a difference when you're talking, about that. So
and it also makes a difference when you have the seller and you have, maybe you have multiple offers, is how much skin are they putting in the game?
Right.
Somebody puts, $500 up. It's not so hard to walk
Right.
away from that.
No, it's not. And
You
it's
put
just
$20,000 up.
In our standard contract, that money actually goes to the title company
Correct.
or a trustee. We typically go with the title company, but brokers can hold earnest money too. So it's not always necessarily the title company, but it goes in with that escrow agent, and that money's staying there
Right.
until a release is signed or the transaction closes. Like if the transaction closes, then it gets applied to the buyer's cash to close or whatever monies they need to bring to purchase the house. But if the contract falls apart and there's no release signed, that earnest money stays at the title company for 12 months. And then I've had people tell me, "Well, that's all right. I'll call after 12 months and get it back." And you're not proving to the title company that it's yours. It's not that simple.
Right.
You get 12 months, and then the 12 months is a waiting period for you to sign
Right.
the release. After that, the title company sends it to the state.
That's right. The title company is just a bank.
And then you
They're
have
not
to
the judge.
sue
Yeah.
for the earnest money, and a judge decides whether you get the earnest
What
money or
happened to
not.
that one? Did they decide before the 12 months? I feel like that's what happened, like at the very last hour.
Yeah, it was a little bit after 12 months, so it was a little bit after 12 months, and the money was already at the state. But it made it very easy because they did sign a release after the 12 months. So it was very easy for the seller,
Sure.
in our case, who was entitled to the earnest money,
Right.
to just open suit, which was uncontested.
It
They
is funny
turned in
when-
the mutual release, and the judge said it's yours. So
That was an agent's first deal too.
it was.
Those are, I don't know how that can happen, but yeah.
You always
I'm like,
get
it's
a
not always
doozy.
like this.
Yeah, that particular situation, that was crazy. That was a first for me too. It was a first deal
Right,
for that
right.
agent, but it was the first time for me
That's
too.
true.
That house was under contract, and they went
Right.
through the whole negotiation period, negotiated everything. Sellers went to
Oh, yeah,
closing,
didn't show
signed
up.
their paperwork, and the buyer didn't show up for closing. They were scheduled to close and everything.
Right. For no reason.
And I called the agent. Yeah, I called the buyer's agent, and I said, "Hey, it's like 2:00 in the afternoon. I haven't
Yeah.
heard anything. What's going on?" And he's like, which was annoying why that agent didn't call and tell me his buyer didn't show up.
No, I feel like he didn't
but-
know. He's like, I don't know. Let me
Oh,
call.
Yeah, you're right. It's been a while since this
Yeah.
went down.
He was like, oh.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Let me find out. He calls me back and he's like, well, turns out
Bad
my buyer
news.
didn't show up for closing. And I'm like, well, it's 2:00. Are they going? And he goes, no, I called him and he goes, no, he changed his mind. He doesn't want to buy it. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
I can't remember what the rest of that story was. Why he wouldn't.
he just didn't want to buy it. It was an investor.
But he also wouldn't release the earnest money.
Right, because he didn't think he should have to.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was
Yeah, he just decided to buy something else.
he was a real piece of work.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Wasn't my client.
Right.
Thank God. No offense to clients out there,
They
but
were our client, but okay.
no, the seller was our client.
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
saying the buyer was
Got
a
it.
piece of work, not our
Yeah.
seller. Seller was perfectly fine. I mean, they weren't perfectly fine. They were upset, but they weren't mad at us.
Oh, no, right.
I mean, we put their house back on the market, sold
Sold
it
it,
again,
yep.
it closed, you know, no big deal. So, I mean, it was a big deal, but
It was.
we solved it, I guess. Let's put it that way. But that was the first for me where somebody just didn't show up for closing. So it does happen.
Right.
Now that person did not get their earnest money back. That buyer.
Right.
Sellers don't pay earnest money, but what happens if a seller doesn't show up for closing?
Never had that happen.
I haven't either.
Now, don't say that.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. I don't know. Never thought about it.
Yeah. I don't either.
It's usually the buyer. And not that we have that happen often either.
No. I mean, but sellers get cold feet. I mean, that was your whole point earlier of that's
But
why.
then don't get to. Right.
That's why sellers have no outs, because it's easy to get cold feet when you're the
Sure.
seller.
When we were buying our house that we've now been in for 12 years, the husband passed away. The wife was selling the house. Now, this is back in the day when houses didn't sell fast. I think our house had been on the market 357 days or something. And we were at the very end, and she called my husband, got his phone number, and said, I don't want to sell the house, but my realtor said that that I don't have any outs and all the memories. And at this time, my parents were moving in. They had sold their house. We had sold our house. Or I guess we didn't sell ours, but
Yes, and you
anyway. But
kicked that poor old lady right on out of her house.
I did not. I called my realtor and I go, what the? And he goes, don't you worry about it, and you won't get any more phone calls. And that was the end of it. He took care of it and did. But yeah. She shouldn't have called my husband.
She should not have.
Right.
No, yeah. If you hire
Because of course
a
my husband said,
then-
we can't buy her house. That's terrible. And I go, that's why we have a realtor, because this is not for me and you to make an emotional decision.
No. That's why the process takes so long.
But
I mean,
if she would have had that option, she'd have been out.
Yeah. No, and you guys would have been.
I forgot about that story.
I think we could probably tell a lot of stories about us selling and buying our own houses.
Investments for me. I have not moved. I'm on my second house, and I'm 57.
I'm just saying.
You're on your
selling and
fourth
buying
house.
houses. I am. Third.
So
Oh, no, this is my fourth house, isn't it?
I'm not going to correct you in public. Let's try not to do that anymore.
I didn't own the second one. That's
Oh, that's true.
why I don't think about that one very often. So I'll rented that.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah. I had to get out of Illinois.
Yeah.
So worked out well, though.
All right. Shall we?
Yeah, what you got?
Oh, I thought we were done.
You're going to hit me with an no inspirational quote this week?
I am. Compliments of Dawn.
Oh, yeah?
On my way in here, I said, oh, no.
Oh, no.
I forgot again. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill.
Oh, I am a fan of Mr. Churchill.
Yeah, me too.
He was a smart guy. What was he? Can you tell me what he was?
He was, yes, I can. He was the Prime Minister
Of?
England.
Good job.
I watched The Queen on Netflix.
Oh, that was a great show.
It might be how I know that fact.
It was so sad at the end. I missed the Queen.
I did not watch the last season.
It went really
The
fast.
Princess Diana season. Is that the last season?
No. I mean, Princess Diana was like 3 seasons of it.
Oh.
Or at least 2 seasons of it when she first, and then I think she does die in the third.
I found
in the
that
last
I don't
season.
watch sad things, and
Oh,
I
it's
found
to
that
the
part
very
too sad.
beginning.
So I don't.
You'd.
I don't watch sad things.
But you knew what was going to happen.
I know, but it doesn't make it any less sad. I remember when Princess Diana died, I was spending the night with my mom and dad. I can't. What year did she die? Either
I don't
Brandon
know,
was a
but
baby or Katie, and I stayed up all night and cried.
So somebody pointed this out to me the other day, which is hysterical, and I don't know why, but now every time it happens, it's going to jump up at me. For whatever reason, we like to talk about death.
Oh no! I'm talking about Princess Diana.
Every episode we've talked about.
How did we get there?
I have no idea, but last episode we talked about how I'm going to get
Winston
killed.
Churchill.
Winston Churchill, the
How
queen.
do we
the
like
queen
do that?
died. Yeah. The
Oh,
queen
because I
died.
knew about Winston Churchill because I watched that on Netflix,
Oh,
and
right.
then okay.
Yeah. I guess we're just
Rabbit holes.
I guess we're just preppers. I don't know what to tell you. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on episode 7.
All right.
See you next week.
Goodbye.